Anonymous is back, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently so. Now, ladies and gents, you know that I love talking about computer hacking, cybersecurity, that kind of stuff. And Anonymous is one of those spooky names that people who don't really know anything about computers and the internet culture are typically scared by, right? It's when you watch your favorite news organization and they talk about the scary hacker known as 4chan, and then you have to explain to them that, no, 4chan the website, grandmother. Well, let's get you back home. Ladies and gentlemen, Anonymous is a virtually decentralized organization. So anytime somebody says they come back, you pretty much have to ask which one, who, where. This is not supposed to be an organization with a set leadership. In fact, anybody can claim that they're anonymous. I can put on a Guy Fawkes mask and pretend to be anonymous. We are anomalous. We are region. Forgive and forget. Expecto Patronum. And yeah, that's your typical anonymous lad right there. Now, obviously, there's other organizations, ladies and gentlemen. You might have heard of organizations like LulzSec, for instance, back in 2011. You talked about, compromising PlayStation Network accounts. You're talking about apparently claiming the ownership of taking down the CIA's website. So obviously, you have an organization like this. Realistically, the reason why some of these hackers are quote-unquote so good is because in LulzSec's case, all right, which was a hacker collective, these people were effectively utilizing password reuse scenarios. So for instance, let's say that you made an account on, Ubisoft Connect. Ubisoft Connect gets hacked, your password, username, and passwords get leaked, and provided, they're not salted or anything, if your password is identified on one breach and you're somebody that just reuses the same password everywhere you go, congratulations, you are now hacked on 10 to 20 different or however many websites you are reusing passwords on. They would also typically go after, systems that were insecure. And obviously, when you start pissing off governments and federal agencies, especially those three-letter agencies like the CIA, like the FBI, like the NSA, your time on this earth could come to a dramatic end if they don't just slap the cuffs on you and put you in a prison for the rest of your goddamn life, or at least several decades, to the point where you might really be questioning, was that hack worth it? This is not the movies where every single hacker gets a six-figure government job. No. Most of the times you come across a hacker collective, none of the hacks that they do are typically all that intricate, okay? It's very rare that you find yourself somebody that is like absolutely a god at the technical side of computer hacking. Usually you'll always find a couple script kiddies, if anything. Script kiddies being people who basically are just doing very rote hacking work, oftentimes downloading entire projects and utilizing them to do their grandiose hacks. So obviously you may not have known this, all right? God bless if you didn't. Twitter was taken down today. And apparently, according to the big man who owns it, Elon Musk, there still is, a massive cyber attack against X. So we get attacked every day, which is not surprising. Nearly every large service gets an attack every single day. This was done with a lot of resources. Either a large, coordinated group or a country is involved. And then, of course, you get the ominous tracing. So, this moment in time, I'm sitting there, I'm like, whoa, this site got taken down? God damn. But apparently there were people claiming ownership of this hack. So immediately I go on to, obvious platforms like r/pop culture. Now, I wouldn't know what pop culture has anything to do with, again, X being down. Cybersecurity news and the pop culture makes no sense. But of course, one of the things we'll get to with Reddit is it's pretty much been a platform that's taken over, and Reddit had to implement some crazy rules, but we'll get to that later. It's more of a tangent towards this video. I noticed something known as Anonymous Operation Dreadnought. So this was kind of floating around. I think I saw it on Asmongold's Reddit too, just basically people making this weird claim that this anonymous organization was behind it. So I wanted to actually do some real research and see what this group really was. So surprisingly, they have a website known as opdreadnought.com. Now, Operation Dreadnought, we are here to fight against the fascism. I think we gotta, let me just do a quick little Google search for you. That's the actual spelling right there, FASCISOC. It's just that easy. That has taken root in America. The Republican Party, MAGA, Trump, and Musk are imbeciles who are drunk on power and get off on trampling down others. The American people are suffering for it. The world is suffering for it. There are some of the worst people on the planet hell-bent on destroying it and everyone on Earth. So yeah, this is anonymous, and obviously, let's not pretend they're obviously not on the right side of the. They're not on the right wing side of. They're on the left wing side. Okay. All right. Again, I don't want the comment section in my turf war. I'm a cybersecurity guy. Cybersecurity has no political affiliation. It really just involves one nerd, a keyboard, a mouse, if anything, some terminals, maybe a fucking femboy on the other monitor, femgirl, whatever the fuck exists. And that's it, okay? Maybe furries, all right? At this moment in time, that's just all hackers really take. Now, if you go to the About sections, there is a anonymous operation to stop the fascism, all right? In the sidebar, there are links to groups and people that are enabling this. We need to disrupt these groups, call out their hatred. So, okay, let's look at the online OPSEC, okay? Make sure you look at these websites to say anonymous, all right? So they give you the EFF, Practical Privacy, Anonymous Planet. So let's go to protesting here. So again, with protesting, weather and dress, hydrated system de-escalation. Again, I'm not really reading anything about, the actual cyber warfare side of things, okay? They've got white ally roles. They've got know your rights. They've got everything provided. All right, let's look at the groups they're against. These are all the Project 2025 groups, which we actually talked about. There was a bunch of furries that took it down. And of course, back then, there were a bunch of people that cyber attacked it. I wouldn't say take it down. And then, of course, you go into the actual evil people in groups. So as far as the evil people that exist, you've got the Alliance Defending Freedom. I don't really know much of these I know Kiwi Farms. Okay, that's the evil organization here. Good luck on that. You've got Prager University. You've got Berezhny Russian hackers. You've got, again, it's just all like the hit list of people that they're pretty much after, okay? But nothing here is, again, related to the actual, hack on Twitter, okay? None of the actual hack is located. Now, the thing about hacks is what Twitter has gone through is something known as a DDoS attack, okay? So it's kind of cringe to me when people always say, oh, this is a massive hack that's taken place. Yes, a DDoS is in fact a hack, but it's not the same level of a hack that people are kind of expecting, where people are really doing some crazy technical shit. To give you an idea of how a DDoS attack works, I made a video several years ago at this point in Virus Investigation, so I guess I'll update the metric here. For anybody that doesn't know, think of a computer that just exists right here, okay? This is your computer. Now, on here, you've got one computer, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 computers, right? Now, all of these computers are legitimate. They're contacting the server. They're asking it some information. So when you connect to a website like www.google.com, there are 6 normal people that go to the website, they request information from the website, they interact with the website, and that's all normal and kosher. Now, what'll happen with a DDoS attack is, let's say that instead of 6 people, there are now 600,000 requests being made every minute, which is a lot, okay? It's a lot of requests to be making around to one website. It could potentially shut something down. So what'll happen is a DDoS attack will actually send a whole bunch of random requests to a server, enough for it to just shut down. Now, sometimes, have you ever noticed when you play a video game on launch, the servers don't work? Well, that is, in a way, a DDoS attack, but it's not supposed to be malicious. It's just a lot of people connecting at the same time, which causes the servers to go down. But what'll happen is, obviously, you may ping a server millions of times across multiple systems and try to achieve the same effect. Now, generally speaking, most DDoS attacks can be countered by a lot of, simple to use software. A lot of modern systems will, swat it away. They'll just ignore a server that's constantly hitting them all the time, or a client, sorry. But when you're talking about a DDoS attack, sometimes multiple different types of requests will be made, right? Like post requests, a lot of different types of actual requests will be made. Actual DDoS attacks will make it look like actual people are communicating with the server. And at that moment in time, all right, people will just take down entire nets, right? They'll take down entire platforms. Now, again, this is not supposed to be like the craziest technical level hack, but you can understand how it's really hard to counter, right? When you just have such a volume of constant pressure put onto a server that it's taking it down, eventually, at scale, anything is vulnerable. So obviously, one example that I wanted to show you too with a lot of hackers is what they will use is something known as a DDoS AAS service, which is DDoS as a service, right? Meaning you can just buy a DDoS attack anywhere. So this is one platform, VDOS, for instance, right? Now, this isn't active anymore. I'm not going to show you active services because that would be against YouTube's terms of services. But generally speaking, this is a booter plan, which again, all you have to do is go to them. You have to pay them a amount of money, whether it be bronze for 20 bucks a month, silver for 30 bucks a month, gold for 40 bucks, or VIP for $200 a month. Again, this could be multiple services. You might even get multiple plans, all right, from multiple different vendors. So you pay these guys in Bitcoin, and generally speaking, they will attack whatever service you go after, right? Now, you're supposed to use this for testing purposes, right, against your own stuff. But you could feed it any server and they'll go after. Now, this particular service was malicious because people had started to ask if they could actually go and attack Israeli targets, for instance. To which, when it came to this service, they couldn't because that specific service, VDOS, wasn't attacking Israeli systems. The reason why is it was a criminal organization. Two guys, two Israelis ran it. And obviously, the whole rule of criminal ops is do not shit where you eat. So again, if you ever wanted to know, hey, is this criminal group a Russian group? Well, just see who they don't attack, right? If they attack every other country but one specific country, there's a good chance that they're from that country and they're most likely being protected by that country, right? It's one of the reasons why when we looked at that North Korean hack, the reason why those guys will never be arrested is because they're obviously North Koreans, North Korean hackers hacking cryptocurrency. And what are the North Koreans going to do? Give them up to the United States when they ask them? No, they're not going to extradite anyone. These are hackers that get to be operating literally out of any part of the world, or at least their country, with complete impunity. It's insane how cyber warfare is nowadays. Now, tangent aside, I wanted to see what other group could be claiming anything. And so I decided to look through my Rolodex of websites and groups and Telegram services, and I started to reach into the dark web to get an idea of like where this hacker group was. So this led me down to a group known as the Dark Storm team, right? Who apparently have claimed actual ownership of this attack. Now in real time, this actual service has been apparently taken down by Telegram because it violates their terms of services. Now, because they've been getting so much attention internationally in such a short amount of time, it's actually crazy in real time as we're filming this. I've shown you how their platform has gotten effectively taken down. So I'm going to give you a quick little archive. I'm going to just pull up an archive that I have of their platform where they claim actual ownership. Now, according to the old Dark Storm team, they said, yeah, we've taken all of this platform offline, ladies and gentlemen. They even gave a check host report, which obviously if you pull it up, you can start seeing all the connections being timed out like no tomorrow. Now, obviously, not every single connection is gone. There are some areas like Coventry in the United Kingdom, completely okay. For instance, in Los Angeles, it's all good. SpaceX Starlink in Ukraine, all good. So look, at the end of the tunnel, there's two types of hackers, okay? There's the people that are motivated by money, which obviously we've looked at things like WannaCry, where ransomware is just spread, sometimes indiscriminately to places like hospitals where lives are actually on the line. And, people are just making boatloads of cash, putting people into a tough situation. And then, of course, the second type is obviously the people that are more hacktivist-oriented. So organizations like Anonymous, right, which there's no one group. Really, anybody can claim that they're anonymous, and generally there's like some political motivation behind it, right? And generally it's always to fight against what they believe to be an oppressive government, an oppressive organization, an evil organization. They're fighting against injustices that they perceive, as does this Dark Storm organization. Now, as a cybersecurity person, I don't ever acknowledge or endorse, I don't endorse any form of cyber warfare. I think it always threatens the fabric of the internet as a whole, and I don't really believe in anything of that nature. I don't believe that we should be DDoSing, attacking, putting people's information, or really anything at risk, okay? But then again, that's just my personal take on it. Again, I'm sure everyone has their own view of the world. Now, one of the actual tools that they could have been using is one that you might have heard of, known as Mega Medusa. And obviously, Mega Medusa is the brainchild, apparently, of what appears to be an actual organization group, RipperSec, which appears to obviously have similar aligned goals to the Dark Storm. This is a pro-Palestinian Muslim hacktivist group, and they were apparently the brainchildren behind what appears to be obviously the Mega Medusa tool, which Mega Medusa is apparently a layer 7 DDoS tool, which is apparently really, really good, and it's also really easy to get set up. I believe the source code is sitting around on GitHub. I'm not going to promote where it is on GitHub. I'm not going to show you how this tool works, but just a general analysis of it is it's much like many advanced DDoS tools. It will do the job, and this is where the whole script kiddie hacker stuff comes from, right? The reason why I'm not so fearful of this new wave of Anonymous is that in a lot of cases, they're just people that grab, assets and tools from the larger people without really any real understanding of how to use these tools for more technical purposes, and also how to really protect themselves from the big 3-letter agencies. At some point, an agency like this, especially when they take claim and credit for an attack, has put a giant bullseye on their back. Now, there's been other assessments, like maybe Twitter just made a mistake and they're claiming it's a cyber attack. And the reality of it is, looking at like that check host page that I showed you, right? Obviously, it appears that there probably was some decent amount of DDoSing that goes on. Nobody can really be surprised by it. Obviously, Elon's not exactly the most loved guy on the world right now, so being the target of hacker groups wouldn't really be a shocking thing. But obviously with organizations like Darkstorm, some write-ups that I saw from them, and this is from like Orange Cyber Defense, they pretty much have shown how these people have been active on the platform. In fact, they've shown that when it came to actual tools, for instance, they also sell things like DDoS as a service. So yeah, these people are obviously making money through ransomware, through actual cyber crimes, and then using their tools and money and assets and all their resources to use against targets that they genuinely do not like. But yeah, I saw this kind of floating around for a couple days, and I did not expect a massive cyber nuke to drop today to the point where like everyone's been kind of talking about it. I really did think that Anonymous was going to wait a couple weeks before they launched their new wave, or at least this iteration of Anonymous. And when it comes to hackers like Anonymous, and when it comes to hackers like that Darkstorm organization, whatever your beliefs really are at, okay? Taking down Twitter was not necessarily the craziest thing I've ever seen. Again, it's a DDoS attack, okay? You see it all the fucking time. It happens everywhere. For a whole year on Rainbow Six Siege, people were just DDoSing Ubisoft to kill entire games. So it's not entirely a shocking thing. Obviously, towards the tail end of this video, one question you may have to ask is my account hacked? I will say, because this is an actual DDoS attack, for now at least we know, it could be something far more damaging down the road when more information comes out. But as of now, a DDoS attack, you really don't have to worry about. This is nothing more than a bunch of script kiddies, if that. Okay, the other plausible opportunity here is that somebody on X fucked up something in the public end and crashed the site. Okay, maybe that could have been a possibility. But yeah, I've seen Anonymous come back. I've generally seen the internet completely crash out when it comes to any form of like decorum or understanding. And again, Twitter's just as bad, as is Reddit, as is most platforms, okay? Even when it comes to like Reddit, most of my sites, most of my time is spent on like r/Linux gaming, because at least that's like the only Reddit that still actually cares about the subject matter that they claim to be putting up, okay? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and yeah, Anonymous is back. Should you be fearful? Should you be scared? Should you be expecting Patronum? I'd relax, okay? I'd calm down, probably crack open a beer, play a video game, and call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and I am out.